Pettersson blasts all that hit. Diving save. Hart as he flashes across. Briere sets up Carl. Side of the net. Deflected. Score! Briere moving in. Stops. Cuts to the middle. Still has a shot. Score! Here's Hughes getting it across. Oh, what a save! Save by Maher. He's in the ball. Short-handed mid. He scores! Up top, cruising his Provorov. He scores! Ivan Provorov!
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Flyer Up Podcast. I'm your host, Amedeo Grassia, along with my partner, Chris Maher. As always, we are live streaming on the Painted Lines TTP Sports and Flyers Fan Mania 93. If you can't tune into the podcast, it'll be up on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts at. So, happy free agent day in the National Hockey League. And man, there's been a lot of things that happened over the course of, I would say, the past 24 hours before we started the show. Flyers made a good amount of signings, and I'm very excited to talk about those. And then also a lot of other signings that happened around the NHL, some very questionable ones and some ones that you'd be like, wow, that happened. So let's get into it. So, Chris, how are you feeling on this free agency day?
I don't know. Out of all people that are in this stream at the exact moment, I'm sure Sean Fitzpatrick is so happy that Nate Thompson is back as a Flyer. Because we all know Sean loved Nate.
Hey, he said he'd buy his Nate Thompson jersey.
He used to compare my YouTube channel to Nate Thompson. It was like the weirdest comparison in the world. But anyway, a lot of things happened. Still a lot of things left to happen at 4 o'clock. Still no official update on Dougie Hamilton, the number one free agent still on the market.
Which all the speculation
a different route.
Which all the speculation says Dougie's going to New Jersey, but nothing there.
Bernier signs in New Jersey. The whole goalie carousel, as I almost said, goalie carousel is just about
a lot of
goaltender goes to
a lot of goaltenders were getting a lot more money than I expected.
Yeah,
even like some of them were backup quality.
Yeah, I mean the Flyers get Martin Jones for a pretty good price, $2 million. Obviously they get Keith Yandle yesterday. That became official today. They also signed Nate Thompson, comes back for $800,000 for a year. So
that's the big signing there, buddy.
Yeah,
that's the big signing, Nate Thompson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I had to rank these, I would go. Like if I were to rank it right now, like I probably would be Yandle at probably the best one. Then I would probably say Jones and Thompson are probably neck and neck. Like I don't even know if there's a divide between those two. And it's nothing like bad against the player. I like Jones. He wasn't the number one guy I would have taken, but under the circumstance, and I know Holtby got the same deal at the same price. So that's fine too. But, Fletcher probably – I mean, listen, I had a feeling that they definitely kicked tires on Holtby. We kind of knew that. I know they kicked tires on Bernier. That was something that I kept hearing too. So that was fine. One thing I will say about Jones is that he's worked with Kim Dillabaugh before, Dean Lombardi. So that is one thing. If Jones could come in and play 25 to 27, maybe even 30 games, that's fine. He's kind of gone down. He kind of started to sink as the Sharks started to sink, and his play went down as the Sharks' play went down. Their defense isn't the best, but it is what it is. And I think for right now, you're gonna have to wait and see what happens. I'm not going to criticize it. I always kind of give that positive impact too. It's like I can see where it's negative, I see where it's positive. I'm going to wait until we actually see Jones in a Flyers uniform. This is when I'm going to critique it.
Yeah, I'm all for it. It's the same thing with Rasmus Ristolainen. You got to give the player at least one chance.
Exactly. Yeah.
When he gets, you got to see what he performs on the ice. And definitely same with Chris, that Jones wasn't the ideal goaltender for a backup role, possibly for Carter Hart.
I don't know who you wanted, but
I was more on the line of trying to go after a guy, maybe try to trade for a Darcy Kemper, get Arizona to retain some salary, or even just going after a guy like a Bernier. But then when you look at the signing, you look at what every other goaltender got on the market, it's pretty understandable why the Flyers went this route, because you got Bernier getting that money with New Jersey, even though Halak was probably the more cheaper option because he signed $1.5 million in Vancouver, but other goalies getting above, most of the goaltenders got above at least $2.5 million. So right now the Flyers are in a situation where they still have to re-sign Sanheim and Carter Hart, and they have $8 million left on the cap to do so. So I can understand why Chuck Fletcher did not go the route of getting a more expensive backup, because you got to sign the 2 young guys on your roster that are going to be crucial to your team. So I can understand that route. Keith Yandle, love the signing. Very cheap contract. It's still funny, too, that he put a no movement clause for a 1-year deal at league minimum, which was I found pretty funny. But you could definitely tell the locker room atmosphere is going to be 10 times different.
Did you see the video of Yandle and Hayes?
Yes.
That's just on the fucking Zoom call, dude. That's just a Zoom call.
It is.
Like, imagine these guys in person.
Oh, man. They definitely need to have every single home game, or just every game in general. They need to have Keith and Kevin Hayes.
I'm getting a Sunk Flyers jersey. I'm getting whatever number
Yandle is wearing.
Yandle has. I'm getting Sunk on the back of it.
I would guarantee that he wears number 3. That's what I would assume.
That would be
because
amazing.
number 3 is open. No one's wearing 3. I don't think he's going to wear what he wore. He wore 3 with Florida. I don't think he's going to wear what he wore in New York when he was with the Rangers for that short stint. So expect Florida number 3. I think he wore 93, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did wear 93.
So yeah, I don't see anyone taking Jake's number. I just don't see that happening. So I do expect Yandle to wear number 3. That's just my speculation, just because that's the main number he's worn throughout his career. And also for a guy like Nate Thompson, he played for the Flyers during their bubble run in the playoffs. He's a guy making 1 year, $800K. Dude, he's going to be your 4th line guy.
For $800,000, I could not complain about literally anything.
He's a guy that's going to be played no more than your 4th line in the penalty kill. That's basically it.
Yeah, 4th line center, 13th forward. That's fine.
Yeah,
you plug him into the lineup. He can, he can block shots. He's good on the PK. Really had a really good faceoff percentage in the playoffs. It was around average, like a 60% faceoff guy. Defensively was iffy, but that was a different team, and yeah, that was a different team and everything. I think the Flyers are going to probably play different defensively this year. I can't see them playing the same way. I see no issues with the Thompson signing.
Yeah, I don't see any issues with it either. I know some people are like, "Oh, why are we signing Thompson? Why he's going to take some playing time away from our young guys?" No, he's not.
No, he's not.
He's a 4th line grinder. That's all he is.
You can't keep putting, and not even just that. You can't keep putting rookies on the 4th line.
That's not a rookie line.
Yeah, it's not. I just can't see Oscar Lindblom on the 4th line again. I won't watch.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I think now with the way your forward core might be set, so you got your 1st line, it's most likely going to have at least Claude Giroux and Sean Couturier on that line, and either I would assume
Atkinson or TK.
I would assume TK Atkinson or maybe Joel Farabee. So maybe one of those 3 guys, your second line. You're going to have Kevin Hayes as your second line center. Also, probably either a mix of TK Atkinson and Joel Farabee. And maybe do you put a JVR on the second line? Do you put a JVR on the 3rd forward line? And you have Scott Lawton as your 3rd center, along with maybe a Lindblom. You don't know. Then your 4th line, I would assume would be a guy would be a Nate Thompson, maybe subbing out some days with Tanner Lenzinski. And then you have Nicholas Aube-Kubel and possibly Wade Allison on your 4th line.
My thing is now, though, is that also Fletcher is live, if you wanted to bring that up. One thing I did want to say about the cap now is that they haven't. What is their cap exactly? It's like an even flat 8.
It's like 8.01, I think.
Yeah, they got a little.
Okay, so let me bring up.
Yeah, they got a little over $8 million.
Okay, let me bring up this Fletcher interview now. So let's share. Let me share my screen. It is I'm going on Twitter right now. Let me go here. Bring up the screen. Hopefully, it shares the audio. Actually, let me stop it real quickly. Let me share it again just to make sure it does share. Okay, I have to click the share the audio button. There we go.
There we go.
Bring that up here.
I figured we might as well play this on the
good, but
stream.
really it started up the ice. It was a full team effort. I
think you can go back to the beginning,
and you guys saw.
I don't think you can.
When
it's done, you can.
Well, we lost.
You're able to watch from the beginning, I think.
Lost our third forward all the time. We gave up too many odd man rushes. We didn't defend well in zone. We didn't kill well, and we didn't get enough saves. So it was a combination. And when you don't play well in front of your goaltenders, it makes life very hard on them. And you can lose confidence. You start compensating and cheating in different ways. So it's hard to know. I'm not. I can only speak to our situation. I can't speak to what happened in San Jose, but I do know that if we defend better in front of our goaltenders, they in turn will play well and allow our players to be more confident too.
Jordan Hall, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Hey, Chuck.
Hey, Jordan.
Keith Yandle, you mentioned it. His experience really speaks for itself, but does his presence sort of augment Cam York's development in the sense that you can maybe give Cam some more games at AHL affiliate Lehigh Valley and kind of not rush him or put too much on his plate early?
Well, certainly. I mean, again, I think Cam's play will dictate when he arrives in the NHL, but what this move does is just give us more depth, and you need a lot of defensemen to get through a season. And this goes to our goaltending tandem too. I mean, I think 2 seasons ago, we played 69 games, last year 56. We're going back to 82, and it's a compressed schedule. It's a difficult schedule. We have a 5-game and 7-night stretch. We have 16 or 17 back-to-backs, all kinds of 3 and 4s. We're crossing the continent again. We're going to need a lot of bodies, and it's going to be an adjustment for the players going back to 82 games and with this type of compressed schedule. So I think what we're trying to do as much as anything is add as many quality players as we can, knowing that you're going to need a lot more than 22 or 23 players to survive this season.
Charlie O'Connor, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Yeah, Chuck.
Charlie.
With Rasmus Ristolainen and now Martin Jones, you guys are kind of betting that those guys are going to perform better in a different environment. I guess my question is that why are you so confident that this is the environment they'll perform better in? Because obviously this past season, you guys kind of were the environment where guys didn't perform as well as they have in the past.
No, and 2 years ago we were a really good environment where players seemed to improve and were better, and we defended well. So we believe in the players we have in our room and believe in our coaches, and in particular with Martin Jones. Again, I think the relationship with Kim Dillabaugh is crucial, and I think coming into a situation where you have Carter Hart here as well. We have 2 quality goalies that can help each other, that can push each other. We have a very good tandem. So I think we believe in our group, and time will tell, but we think these are quality bets to make.
John Wowrow, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Hey, Chuck. John Worrell with the Associated Press.
Hey, John.
I'm kind of half kidding, but so much for the flat salary cap. I mean, how do you explain so many moves happening, and how much more creative do GMs have to be this time, to make these moves, by making trades to actually free up the room to make these moves?
Yeah, we're seeing more and more trades where teams are attaching assets to players to move the money or taking back dead cap space, and you need somebody that's pretty sharp with numbers and understanding the cap to make all this work. But yeah, it seems like there's been a lot of activity today. I haven't fully wrapped my arms around everything because we've been pretty busy. But there's no question. There's a lot of teams that think they have a chance to win. A lot of teams are making bold moves to try to get better, and that speaks to the parity of the league and to everyone's belief that if you can add a piece or two, you can be right there. And there's always optimism this time of the year. That's what makes it so much fun. And but it's a tough league.
Anthony Sanfilippo, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Yeah, Chuck, just going back to the goalie tandem again, I know things will change obviously as the year progresses. But in today's game, it almost seems, and you talked about the compressed schedule a little bit, it almost seems like you don't have a goalie who can play, you don't want a goalie playing 60, 65 games anymore. Do you have, like in your mind, an idea of how you would like these guys to kind of share the time or split the time?
I don't. That'll be up to Kim and Elaine to get together and figure out what makes sense. And obviously how the players' performance and health will come into that. But I don't know if it's possible to play 60 games for a goaltender to play 60 games this year. Again, I'm not sure if it's 16 or 17 back-to-backs. Our schedule changed a little bit at the end, but it's 5 games and 7 nights and 3 time zones. I think we have at one stretch. So obviously one guy's playing 3 and one guy's playing 2 there. So it's the nature of it. I'm sure when we get to the 22-23 season, without an Olympic break, the schedule may have a little bit more, have a few more breaks in it, maybe spread out a little bit better. But this year's going to be a tough schedule. And again, it'll be the first time in 3 years that we played 82 games.
We'll do 2 more questions. Jordan Hall, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Hey, Chuck.
Hey, Jordan.
Kevin Hayes obviously knows Keith Yandle very well, and Justin Braun obviously played with Martin Jones a lot in San Jose. Just curious, did you reach out to those guys to get more insight on those players, or was this just more of a decision on the front office's part?
Yeah, no, I obviously with Kevin Hayes. I mean, Keith Yandle's been recruited. Teams have been trying to recruit him since he was bought out from Florida. There was a lot of interest in Keith, so certainly Kevin was an important part of selling the virtues of coming to the Philadelphia Flyers, and we're very pleased that Keith chose to come here over many other competitive offers and teams. So with Martin Jones' situation's a little bit different. He was only bought out yesterday, and again, there's a lot of teams looking for goalies. So it's one of those situations where you rely on your scouts, and we obviously have very good information on Martin from Dean Lombardi and Kim Dillabo, and we relied on that.
And last question, Bill Meltzer, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Yeah, Chuck, it's been reported that the Flyers have signed Adam Clendening on a 2-way. Can you confirm that? And also, are you expecting other potential veteran signings or kind of phantoms gear, but also NHL depth?
Yeah, Brent's been busy. I think we've signed 5 or 6 today. I was hoping the release would come out, but yes, we have. We've signed Adam Clendening. I did sign his contract. We've agreed to terms with a few other players, and Adam's a guy I think with 90 games of NHL experience, can move the puck. He has some skill. He's obviously a star at the American Hockey League level, but he can certainly play games in the NHL. And with the skill set and the right shot, we thought that would be a real valuable type of guy to add to our organization.
Okay, Chuck, thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, well, that was Chuck Fletcher. So a lot of interesting things to point out there. And just talking about the Keith Yandle signing.
Good.
So in terms of like Kevin Hayes bringing in all the Boston people, I think Keith Yandle is probably that biggest guy because, they've been best friends probably since when they both played for the Rangers, and, their connection to Barstool Sports as well. So that's going to be some interesting things, but I know, Chris, you wanted to bring up a certain point, so you can go ahead.
Yeah, what he just said, they signed 5 or 6 guys?
Yeah.
So there's only been 4 that have been announced, and only 1's come out.
So you got the 3 NHL signings, but Keith Jones and Thompson. I would assume the other 3 guys are more depth guys. That's what I would assume.
It was Nick Seeler was another defenseman. He was like a puck-moving mobile defenseman. He used to play for the Wild. That was tweeted out by Michael Russo, though, who is the main Wild writer for The Athletic. And I'm going to pull up the tweet. Yeah, per sources, Flyers are signing a physical, mobile former Minnesota Wild and Minnesota Gopher defenseman Nick Seeler. 1 year, 2-way, $750,000, $300K minor, $350K guaranteed. That was at 3:00. That came out exactly at 3. So it's 4:19 now. We haven't heard anything. The official thing is probably going to come out soon from the Flyers. If Fletcher just said that, the social media guy probably just,
Hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah, probably was like, oh shit, I got to send this out.
There's one question in the comment section that I am confused about. Robert, what do you mean this is going to be a rough 5 to 6 years?
Yeah, I'm really confused because this guy was saying the same thing about Thompson, and he was like, and then he said, I'm trying to read it. I want to bring up the comment. It says, if Nate Thompson is true, that could be the final straw for me. I was curious to why he was saying that.
The final straw?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he was very too high on Thompson's game.
So is he not high on any of the moves that the Flyers made? That means the final straw has been dealt? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. 5-6 years doesn't really seem I mean, I don't even know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, Rob, you're confusing me here. If you're still in this live stream, can you post a comment just what you mean by that? Because I'm not sure what you're going by there, buddy. So looking at some other questions, we got some one from Cryptid saying Jones was a good goalie till the Sharks started to suck in the last 2 years. So yeah, that's definitely one point to bring up, because if you look at Martin Jones's numbers over the past 3 seasons, his last season that he had an above 900 save percentage was 2017-2018. In the past 3, he's had a save percentage of the exact past 3 years of 896. And those past 3 years, the Sharks really haven't been good. Well, the past 2 years, the Sharks haven't been good. In 18-19, they went to the conference finals, and Jones actually got a lot better as the playoffs progressed. But the past 2 years, the Sharks have been one of the more bottom feeder teams in the league. So I can definitely see where that drop-off came and why people are worried. And also, I can understand the worry too, but I'm willing to give Jones a second chance, or willing to give Jones a shot. But yeah, still definitely wasn't my first pick for free agency as a backup goaltender. But right now you're strung up in the cap, and right now that's the best you can do. So let's see how the season progresses.
If I was in that media availability with Fletcher, I don't know if somebody asked it before because I know we joined late, but I wanted to ask about Holtby. Were there any rumblings on him, and if the Flyers had any talks? But that's one thing I would have asked.
I think Jason Martinez actually brought up a tweet too about the Holtby situation. The Flyers did kick ties with Holtby, but he thinks that the Flyers didn't go after him just because the past couple of years he's been dealing with major confidence issues, and he thinks that might not want to be a situation that you throw Carter Hart into, because last year he dealt with confidence issues, and you don't want a backup that's dealing with that currently. So I can understand probably why they chose not to go in that direction, possibly.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. Like, he got the same contract that we talked about before. He got 1 year at $2 million, and honestly, that's the thing. Like, it makes me wonder if he wanted to stay on the West. Maybe he didn't want to go back East. I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah.
That is a major possibility, but there is just I know some people, for some reason, like I've seen some people like talk about, wow, this is these 2 signings that, man, the Flyers are going to go downhill now. Like, 2 signings, the Flyers are going downhill. What? I just don't understand it. And I also want to bring up the part where Fletcher did talk about the schedule too, because I honestly didn't realize that back part of the schedule. I knew there was the Olympic break, but stretches of like 5 games in 7 days, 17 back-to-backs this season.
Yeah, did he say like they have like a 5 games in 7 night kind of thing?
Yeah.
Did you see my face when he said that? I was like, what? Because I'm about to look at the schedule again and try to figure out where he's talking about this, because I know they have games like, close, but early in the year kind of. Jeez. Yeah, this is the first time in a while that we've actually had an Olympic break in the league. Mm-hmm.
The last Olympic break that we had was 2014. So it's been a while, and Chuck Fletcher also did state that it's been 3 years since we actually played a full 82 games. So this is going to be a tough schedule for everyone.
Yeah,
not just the Flyers. And then also here's a comment from Luke saying that hockey should be very entertaining for the Flyers this year instead of 9-0 losses. Not gonna lie. Yeah, this Flyers team is definitely gonna be more enjoyable to watch.
Dude,
just
from the third pair up, it looks so much better.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think
it's gonna be a good year for the Flyers.
Yeah, I think with this team right now, they're building better to be a contender, but I also kind of feel like it's going to be somewhat similar, not in terms of the way that last year played out, but it's going to be like a year where your expectations are high, or it's going to be a team where maybe they're not the best team. I feel like it's one of those two options. I don't see this team being a middle, like a teen or team anymore. Like they're not in the middle. They're either at the top or they're at the bottom. I don't see this team being mediocre. That's where I'm trying to get at.
I can't see any. I think this is the year that's where it's like, if they don't make the playoffs this year, people are getting fired.
Yeah. You're talking about getting fired. You're talking about rebuild, trading away everyone to get draft picks. That's what you're focusing on right now. Yeah. But this is also a year where, like, I know I hate bringing this stuff up, but Chuck Fletcher, for what he's done this offseason, he can't get blamed because he actually has tried to shake up the team.
Yeah. And he did it in a different way. Most people and teams would do the coaching staff. They did that. They realized that. He did it with the players. That might work. We've never seen that since. Yeah,
basically this team has basically been, I would say, the same for the past decade in terms of the players and roster that's basically been here, and it's mainly been coaches that have been fired and hired and fired and hired. Let's see how changing the players work.
Yeah.
Because honestly, we haven't seen this big of a shakeup with the team since basically that 07-08 season where they came off one of the worst records in the league.
Yeah. No,
so I wonder how that's going to work out. Hopefully, remember that team, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. So anything could happen.
Yep. So I'm just excited to cover a full 82 games. I've never done it before. Never done it before. I did a full 56, which was technically a full season, and I would have done a full
82 if it wasn't for the shortened season.
Yeah, it would have been a full 82. See, now that I'm starting college next month, and
good luck to that.
Thank you. Starting college next month, I'm going to be fully invested in this now and everything. I'm excited because I've never done it before, and it should be exciting. But
I wonder if you're going to get some recognition on campus since you have over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I wonder if some people recognize you.
I don't know. Maybe I'm curious to see how training camp and stuff goes. Like if people are like, "Oh, I know you," like, you know what I mean? Like, because it happened once before. There was a little kid who was there who knew. He actually listened to the podcast. Him and his dad, and he recognized me and everything. He said he watched my stuff all the time, and it was awesome. It was such a cool thing. But I'm curious now because it's like, especially since the Ellis trade, like it kind of blew up from there. So I don't know. I'm curious though. But
yeah, I wonder how it's going to work when training camp everything circles under the way. That'll be interesting. And like I said,
it's supposed to be a rookie camp.
There is supposed to be a rookie camp.
Late August.
Is it going to be the same thing like the trial on the Isle like they usually do or something like that where they go down to the beach?
It's not even like development camp. It's at Voorhees. It's like development camp, but it's not called development camp. It's rookie camp. So it's going to be like it's probably all guys that are going to be signed with the team, and they might not be able to fly in the guys that they drafted. So I don't know. But
that is interesting. So I would assume training camp would be early September, mid-September. I would assume so, because the season starts at mid-October. So I would assume mid-September, late September is when the training camp starts, and then you'll eventually get into your preseason, which is very early October, late September. So I wonder how that. It's going to be a nice way because right now we are getting into the midst of Eagles training camp, which is I think it's just started or it's just around the corner. So when you look at that, you're very close to Flyers training camp in the end of September. So we're not that far away actually because we have 2-3 days left in July. So we're not that far off. We are not that far off, and it's going to be an exciting time. And man, I wonder also if once Sanheim and Hart are signed. Do you think Chuck Fletcher is probably done with the way he's built the team? Or do you think he makes some more minor moves? Or, hey, maybe he surprises us again with a trade?
Well, I don't know. And that's the thing. It's like the cap space, it's like they got to be done unless they move out somebody.
Yeah, that's
guy
the only.
like,
Yeah.
Like NAK. That's
An
the only thing
NAK.
I could think of.
Maybe they surprise us and trade a JVR, but I don't see that happening at this point. That'd be funny though.
Hurry up to get 15 million.
Yeah, and it's also, I guess you can count this some breaking news because Darren Dreger has said it's been quiet on the front of the Devils and Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah. Well, Eklund just tweeted the Hamilton, New Jersey announcement is delayed because they want to bring Dougie in to sign in person.
I don't know how I feel about that.
So that could be why. I mean, Eklund was right earlier about a couple of things. I know some people are iffy with what he reports, but I most of the stuff, I do think I think he's pretty good with most of his reporting. But how about the Kraken getting Grubauer, dude?
Yeah, I was gonna say at first, what the hell is Colorado doing? Like, I know you sign Landeskog yesterday to his contract, but then now you lose your.
Now? I keep hearing.
I think Franzos is technically their goaltender right now. And
I heard that Seattle might trade Vanacek back to Washington now that they got Grubauer, and they're going to keep trading.
That's what I saw too, and it's still going back to the point where there's right now the final two teams interested in Kemper or Colorado, and I would assume it's an Edmonton or a Boston possibly. That's what I think. And there was also reports about Tuukka Rask as well getting his surgery, and he probably won't be available until January or February to play.
Really?
Yeah.
So
I can understand.
Isn't in our division.
Yeah, so I would assume Boston this year, if they do go after Kemper, or if they don't, who's their starting goaltender going to be? Is it going to be Swayman? I would assume.
Probably
because they never
lost Halak signed to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Holtby goes to Dallas. Bernier signs 4.1, 8.2 for 2 years for Bernier. That's insane.
That's the one. That's going to confuse me with Boston a little bit on how they're going to go this season because of their goaltending. Can you rely on the young goaltending for a long stretch of time? But I guess you have to wait and see about that. And if you want to bring up some other free agent signings, good old Brian Elliott, he signed with the Tampa Bay Lightning, 1 year, $900K. So hopefully, basically, Brian Elliott's probably not going to get a large playing time with Andrei Vasilevsky being the starter there. And he's basically just going there probably for his best chance to win a Stanley Cup. So if Tampa Bay can three-peat, that'll be a good chance for Moose to get that. Alec Martinez, he resigns with the Vegas Golden Knights, 3-year contract, 5.25 cap hit. James Reimer, he went to the San Jose Sharks, 2 years, a 2.25 cap hit. Yeah. Also, we got the Los Angeles Kings getting Philippe Deneau. He signed a 6-year contract worth $5.5 million. Mm-hmm. Nick Bonino, he goes to the Sharks, 2 years, $2.05 million. Jaden Schwartz, Schwartz signs with Seattle, 5 years, $5.5 million. You get the good old Carolina Hurricanes signing Tony DeAngelo to a year contract. Ugh, man. And Curtis Gabriel, he got himself a contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Good for him. You got Zach Hyman getting that big extension from the Edmonton Oilers, 7 years, $5.5 million cap hit. Braden Point getting his big contract, 8 years, $9.5 million. Good old Luke Shen signing back with the Vancouver Canucks, 2 years, $850K. Nick Foligno chose Boston, so he's going to be signing there. In terms of other contracts, if I'm scrolling down my screen so far, the Dale Weiss signing for the Pittsburgh Penguins and Brock McGinn. That's what I'm going to compare it to. 4 years, $2.75 million. You got Ian Cole signing with the Carolina Hurricanes. Carter Hutton.
I don't think it was just Carter Hart.
I was going to say Carter Hutton. He signed, I think, with the Arizona Coyotes. Then you also got Bernier, like you said, Chris, earlier, signs with the Devils. Mm-hmm. You got Peter Mrazek going to Toronto. So I wonder, are they going to do a tandem of Jack Campbell and Peter Mrazek now? That's going to be weird.
That's what they said on TSN, Campbell and Mrazek.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
This just got tweeted by David Pagnotta that Thomas Tatar continues to entertain interest from multiple clubs. Seattle and Colorado are the two teams that have checked in at some point.
Interesting. You got Cody Ceci, the pylon, getting 4 years, $3.25 million cap hit from the Edmonton Oilers.
Oilers doing? Can we bring that up for a second? Like, I don't get it. You lose Larson to Seattle, right? And he signs like a very similar deal that what CC signed. Okay, you lose
Caleb Jones for Duncan Keith.
Yeah, and I'd listen. Keith still has game left. Don't get me wrong, but you trade Bear for Warren Fogle, which I think they're going to lose that trade in a couple years. That's going to be like Jeff Petrie 2.0.
I feel bad for even Bear going to Carolina because of the Tony DeAngelo signing.
And then they don't even have Clefbaum. He's still hurt. Like, and then they still re-sign Nurse.
And they're still going into the season, I would assume so, with Mike Smith and Koskinen as their tandem.
Yeah,
which
Mike Smith
doesn't look pretty.
Too old. He's 40 years old.
Yeah, and Koskinen's not an ideal starter in the NHL. Just not. Especially if you want to try to compete for the playoffs. I know that they say they're interested in Kemper, and then you sign Zach Hyman, even though it's a good contract for Hyman, but where's the rest of your team?
I mean,
where's your defense?
They re-signed Barry, but Clefbaum's hurt. You know he's out. Koskinen they re-sign, or no, Smith they re-sign. We also forgot to bring up this goaltender, Olmark. He hasn't been signed yet either, and according to Fred Mann, and that's who Boston might try to be going after in free agency. That wouldn't be too bad for Boston.
Because it was said that Buffalo was trying to re-sign him, but I don't think they're close to anything yet. But because I know he wants money, and I think he wants term as well. Mm-hmm. So I wonder who takes that crack at him. You got a good old New Jersey native Eric Robinson getting his payday with the Columbus Blue Jackets, 2 years, $3.2 million cap hit. Got a Braden Holtby going to the Dallas Stars, the same exact contract as Martin Jones, 1 year, $2 million cap hit. Zach Bogosian going back to the Tampa Bay Lightning, 3 years, only an $850K cap hit. Yeah, that's a very cheap contract. Good on you, Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. David Savard going to Montreal, 4 years at $3.5 million for the cap hit. So I know the rumors were expect the David Savard contract to be very expensive. This is not expensive at all. I was like, what? Why are we expecting this to be very expensive?
Yeah.
So I have no idea there. Boone Jenner gets an extension with the Blue Jackets. Michael Granlund re-signs with the Nashville Predators. Travis Hamonic goes back to Vancouver, 2 years at $3 million cap hit. Alex Goligoski signs with the Minnesota Wild, 1 year, $5 million. A little question there on the salary, but it's like that's what you bought out Suter and Parise for, I guess. But who knows? You got Frederick Anderson going to Carolina, 2 years, $4.5 million cap hit. Another big signing with Blake Coleman going to Calgary. Everyone was expecting him to sign with Boston, but no, he turned out and signed with Calgary. 6 years, $4.9 million on the cap hit. Ryan Suter goes to the Dallas Stars, 4 years at $3.65 on the cap. You got Brandon Sutter going with the Vancouver Canucks. Jordan Martinook signing with the Carolina Hurricanes, 3 years, $5.4 million. Good old Calvin Pickard re-signing with Detroit. Same thing with Sam Gagner. Tyson Barrie gets an extension with the Edmonton Oilers, 3 years, $4.5 million. Then you get the Gabe Landeskog contract that was signed yesterday, 8 years at $7 million on the cap. Brandon Montour re-signs with Florida, 3 years at $3.5 million on the cap. And Alex Ovechkin getting that big contract, 5 years, $9.5 million on the cap. So does Ovi in this term of the contract break the record?
Yes.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
So it sounds like he needs to average.
Guy, like you could etch him into the ice, like he wouldn't move and he would still score.
He would still.
Yeah. Just give him the puck. Like, did you bring up Anderson with Carolina?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Anderson, yeah. 2 years at 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
Solid deal. That's gonna be so good for him.
Yeah. Then Calvin Carolina Pickard, too, Flyers legend. Flyers legend Calvin Pickard.
And Carolina too, because they're better structured defensively than Toronto. Anderson had to make a bunch of crazy saves with the Leafs, and that didn't really help him. He's not really the goalie that makes many of those saves unless his defense literally lets him, completely out of position. He's not really a athletic known goaltender. But I I like that for Carolina. I do. I like Anderson. I think he's solid, and I think he's really going to shine there because, as I said, it's different than Toronto. It's a different atmosphere, and he doesn't necessarily have that pressure on him as much as he did. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that's goaltenders that normally have been going to Carolina for the past couple of years have been playing a lot better when they go there. So especially when you're in a small market. So I would assume Anderson's going to feel a lot better than playing in Toronto. Then Don asks us, do you think Point got overpaid? Hell no. Point deserves the money that he's making. He deserves that $9.5 million cap hit for the way he performed in the playoffs the past so many years for Tampa Bay, and for him being that young guy, that top guy that is going to be franchise chasing eventually when Stamkos is gone. So yeah, I think Brayden Point really deserves that contract for the way he performs for Tampa Bay in general and also in the playoffs. That is a well-deserved contract for a 2-time Stanley Cup winner. And in terms of trades, I want to bring up the very questionable trade yesterday between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Chicago Blackhawks, sending Marc-Andre Fleury.
Math. I love everybody kept saying math on Twitter. MAF. They weren't spelling it. They kept saying math.
Mm-hmm.
That was funny.
Yes, so Fleury gets traded to Chicago. And not the biggest fan of the trade, just because of how Fleury has been getting treated.
No, he's treated like he does. He was treated there like he was the reason that they lost in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine for Chicago. I would gladly take Fleury.
That's even granted that he plays for them, because there were also rumors that he might talk about retirement. The only team he wanted to play for was Vegas.
Yeah. The only team in the league he wanted to play for. There was actually talk that Chicago would take him and flip him back to Pittsburgh.
I don't think Pittsburgh's going to trade for him.
It
might be possible, but that doesn't sound like a Hextall move.
No, it doesn't. I think Hextall's going to be really stubborn with the Penguins. I don't think he's going to do much with them.
He's going to do the same thing that they did to the Flyers. That's basically what it's going to be.
Well, I wouldn't say he'll do the same thing, because they obviously learn. Like, there's no way he does the same thing. Like, he got fired for doing that before. Why would he do that again? But to your point, he's not going to be any more aggressive.
No.
He will, but it's also different too. It's a different era than it was, 5-6 years ago than it is now with the cap and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think Hextall's waiting for that team to eventually, for Malkin, Crosby, those guys, Letang, eventually to either request trades out of there so he can rebuild, or wait till they retire so he can rebuild that team properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't expect like Pittsburgh. Yeah, they're still going to be a competitive team just because you have guys like Crosby, Malkin, and Letang, but eventually the age is going to start creeping up on these guys. So it's eventually going to happen where Pittsburgh starts to become that mediocre team, I would assume. More mediocre. And Sean Fitzpatrick, I am not fired up about Martin Jones. What the hell are you talking about? God damn it, Sean. Can't believe you would say that. Can't believe it. Then we also got a Dank Seltzer saying time for Hayes to play a recruiter again. Get Johnny Hockey to demand a trade to Philadelphia. That would be very funny if he does recruit Johnny. That would be very funny. Even though I think Johnny Gaudreau's eventually. I know there's talks about him being close to contracts with Calgary, possibly, or to discussing contracts, but I'm not sure if he eventually stays there, or if they don't come to an agreement, he's a trade chip at the trade deadline, possibly. So I'm not sure. I am not sure. And we just got Hoffman signed with the Habs. Hoffman's, yep, right here. Mike Hoffman expected to sign with the Montreal Canadiens.
Jesus Christ.
So let's see.
I fucking hate Montreal, man.
Yeah, and also Joel Fairman, he does have Philadelphia on his 5-team no movement clause. So if Calgary does have a really bad year and they can't sign Gaudreau, I would say Kachuk possibly, maybe Monahan, or trade chips at the trade deadline. I would assume so.
Yeah.
And if the Flyers are a team that's really competing for the playoffs, I could see Chuck going after a guy like a Johnny Gaudreau or maybe a Matthew Kachuk, possibly. You never know.
Did Freddie Anderson get drafted by Carolina? Did I just read that?
Yeah, he got originally drafted by Carolina.
He was a 7th round pick?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a very late pick in the draft.
Oh no, he re-entered into the draft.
Yeah.
He was a 7th rounder in 2010, and then he re-entered in 2012.
And got drafted. Yeah.
And got drafted by Anaheim.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was originally an original Carolina Hurricane before he re-entered. Interesting there. That's a good fact. And also, Sean asked the question, so do you think the Flyers transactions are pretty finished now? I would say most likely after they signed Sanheim and Hart. I would assume their contracts are done. They also do have to sign Bunneman, but I don't expect that contract to be anything at all. So I would assume that after Hart and Sanheim are signed, they're basically done for the offseason unless Chuck Fletcher does want to surprise us once again, which he has been known to do that this offseason. Very much surprising. So you never know.
Joel Farabee seems pretty happy that
that Keefe is here.
No, that Thompson's back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just put it on his Instagram.
Interesting. And I know he was definitely probably a really great guy in the locker room when he was here for that short stint. So, and it's funny too. I remembered someone bringing it up about Keith Yandle being here and saying that Kevin Hayes was already Joel Farabee's father, but now Joel Farabee now has 2 dads in Hayes and Keith Yandle. So I wonder how. I just want to see the freaking relationship between Hayes and Yandle like broadcasted throughout the entire season. We definitely need to have mic'd up Keith Yandle and Kevin Hayes every single game, because I just the heckling, the chirping, just the way those two conversate with each other, man, that'll be amazing. And I wonder, is "sunk" going to be the official phrase of the Flyers? Is that going to be the official phrase of the Flyers this year?
I saw there was a thing to get rid of "Feel the Shake."
Oh yeah, I hate that song. I hate that. I hate that as a goal song. I'm sorry.
When the team was playing good, "Feel the Shake" was the best thing in the world.
Well, yes, when
there was no
winning.
shake to feel last year was the problem. You weren't feeling the shake. You were feeling the defensive turnover every 10 seconds.
You were feeling the defensive turnover every 3
3 years
seconds.
at 4.5. Dude, Mike Hoffman is literally one of the most, I swear to God, he looks every year. It looks like he's one of the most overrated guys in the league. He goes from team to team to team to team. Yeah, he'll go from team to team to team. Had a really long tenure with San Jose. That's a joke. Please don't take that as
seriously.
He literally was on the Sharks for a good maybe
for a second until he got traded to Florida.
Yeah, it was like a good 20 minutes, and he goes to Florida.
Since we're giving the team a facelift, we need a new goal song.
Yeah, I mean, holy shit. We got rid of everything else.
Bring back Dupe. Bring back Dupe.
That's what I was hearing too. Bring back Dupe. I like the 2019 goal song.
Like personally, I kind of want them to go back to the Van Halen song that they had a while ago, but I would be fine if they brought back Dupe, but I don't think they're going to. I think it's going to be a different goal song this year, unless for some reason the Flyers team is so strung upon Feel the Shake. I don't know why, but
yeah, they did. Pierre LeBrun did just say that he thinks the Habs own Hoffman a natural goal scorer is Tatar's replacement. So it doesn't look like Tatar is going to be staying.
You have Toffoli.
Yeah, but Tatar is a natural goal scorer too.
That is true. Then we also got bring it back, Dupe, please. And then Luke says 2019 goal song was a bop.
I like that one. Do you remember that one?
What was it? What was it, another dubstep song or whatever it was?
No, it was. Yeah, it might have been. I don't really remember.
Because I know 2019-20 was Feel the Shake, and then this year was Feel the Shake.
Just pull it up. I mean, you might get copyright, but.
Oh yeah, it probably will get copyrighted. That's why I'm not doing it. The We Them Boys song. That's the freaking goal song.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. Wasn't big on that. All those goal songs just remind me of the mediocrity of the team. Want to get a good goal song for this team. Bring back a classic, something that the fans can chant to. I don't know. I feel like a goal song should be something that the fans can chant to, not something that's like a dance mix. That's just my opinion. But
yeah,
it's weird. It just Feel the Shake just felt weird. It just did. When you score a goal, then like, how do you chant to this? And then Sean says no goal song will ever top of the Hartford Whalers brass bonanza. Yeah, that is a classic goal song. Yeah. Twitter. That's what I'm saying. Just bring back Van Halen and call it a day. Oh yeah, the freaking the goal. Yeah, you're bringing up the goal song from a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
I thought you were talking about the goal song that was from like 2007. That the one the Ducks have currently.
Oh yeah, I want the. What was the one the Penguins had in 2009?
Oh,
Woohoo, right? What's that
Maybe.
song called?
I'm not sure.
It's the Ramones.
I'm not sure. I don't know what that goal song is.
I forget. Is it the Ramones or did I just make myself sound like a fool?
You might be sounding like a fool. Might be.
No.
Then
No,
Trevor says that players should be able to pick their own song, and when said player scores, it's their song of choice. That's something actually Vancouver did once. I think a couple of years ago.
Can you hear me when I play the volume from my computer?
I don't think so.
No. Can you hear that?
For a slight second, yes.
Okay. Was it loud?
It was like a quick second, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Okay. I wanted to play it, but I don't want to play it at the same time because it's. Oh, it was Party Hard.
Oh yeah, that was the song that they had during their cup runs. Yeah,
Yeah.
Party Hard. I remember that song.
Yeah.
Sean says if they're changing everything, does that mean the end of Lauren Hart now? Lauren Hart's going to be the infamous until she retires. That's never going to change. That's the one thing of tradition that's going to stay is Lauren Hart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. They're not going to get rid of the number one ranked infamous in the NHL. Our very own Lauren Hart. She sings the Star Spangled Banner.
Dank says our goal song should be Kevin Hayes and Keith Yandle drunkenly singing "Take Me Home, Country Roads."
That is literally the worst goal song in the NHL. The Capitals. It doesn't pump you up. It makes me want to go to sleep.
But if it's Hayes and Yandle drunkenly singing it, I think that might be more entertaining.
Yeah, that's funny.
Then you throw some like weird music behind it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just them. It's basically the entire damn thing. Yeah. I think the Flyers really need to put out the merchandise for the Keith Yandle and Kevin Hayes bond. I think that's something that they really need to force out in merchandising because that's going to be yeah. So just to refresh Twitter before we end this off, just to see if there's any last second signings. I don't think there is. So I don't think there is any last minute signings. So there's something. So I think we're good on the signings for the time being. And also I kind of want to make fun of the Phillies for a second as they traded for a pitcher yesterday, but the trade didn't go through because of a failed physical, I would assume so. Why it didn't go through. And then in turn the Pirates traded that pitcher to the Mariners. So
of course.
Classic Phillies. And then someone says "sonk" should instead of "dupe" should just replace the word. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how that would sound. So
that's terrible.
That does sound terrible. So I think we have covered all the bases of today's free agent frenzy with the Flyers and the NHL. So thank you everyone for joining this episode of the Florida Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to us on our different YouTube accounts. TTP Sports for me, Flyers Fan Mania 93 for Chris. And also don't forget to check out here at the Painted Lines. Subscribe everywhere they are at. Don't forget to follow our different Twitter pages as well. It's Amedeo Grassia 98 for me. And Chris, I know I recently saw you change your Twitter handle again.
I did, yeah. I've been going back and forth with it.
So what is your current Twitter handle? Because I don't want to get it wrong.
That's a great question. Oh, it's Maher FNG.
Okay, there you go. Definitely go follow him on Twitter. And don't forget to follow the Florida Podcast everywhere. Links are down in the description below. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here. And let's see what the Flyers do over the course of this free agency. We'll see you later, everyone.